Well, good morning to you and welcome to Still Up with 6. We are back on this Monday morning to continue our conversation from the show. And I know that we like to speak about, fun, uplifting topics and have fun here after the show. But this is something that we have to talk about. It's the big story right now, and it will continue to be the big story. An entire country, the globe right now, united in grief. Hard to say. Kobe Bryant passing away along with his young daughter and a number of other people. And it's just one of those surreal "where were you" moments.
It was, yeah. I remember yesterday just looking at the notification that he had passed and been killed in this helicopter crash, and it really is one of these things that you're going to remember for years from now. You're going to look back and remember where you were when the great Kobe Bryant died tragically in a helicopter crash. And we've been talking about how there's still so many unanswered questions. Did they know that the conditions were bad to fly? Was this pilot error? Was there a mechanical issue? There's so many things that still need to be answered for, I think, people to continue mourning and to get the closure they need. But when we talk about, celebrities passing, big names, it's really hard because we've been following Kobe Bryant since he was 18. I mean, he's been in the NBA since he was 18. He played for the Lakers for 20 years. It's one of those things where it really is just so surreal, and it hits you and it just shocks the world.
And I think that with Kobe Bryant, and I'm sure that plenty of you will agree with me, is that, as compared to maybe some actors or musicians that have struggled with substance abuse and things like this, Kobe Bryant truly seemed invincible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is a man that seemed like he was just coming into his second wind as a parent, as a mentor, doing so many good things for the game of basketball. And I think that's why it caught so many of us off guard, is this is a man that seemed like, of course, nothing's going to happen. Kobe's going to be around for years to come.
Yeah, he was just 41 years old, very young. You look at this crash site and you think how devastating, how scary. And his poor daughter, 13 years old, Gianna, passed as well. And now, his wife is left with 3 other daughters. They've got Natalia, who's a teenager. They've got Bianca, who's only 3. And poor Capri is only 6 months old. And so, he leaves behind 3 young daughters and his wife, who has to now, manage all of this by herself. And of course, she lost her husband, she lost her daughter, and the whole world lost this legend that everyone looked up to. I think growing up in California, everyone wanted to be like Kobe. I mean, that was a thing.
Oh yeah, if you're a little kid, if you're a teenager, we all want to be Kobe Bryant. And I can't remember a time, and maybe some people will remember here watching on social media. I can't remember a time where kind of the world stood still at the news of someone passing away. We haven't really seen social media come to a standstill like that, and just the shock and the grief that this great man is no longer with us. And of course, the tragedy surrounding it, I think we are all sick to our stomachs to hear that his young daughter, of course, on board as well. And she had such an incredible future ahead. And Brenda, then you feel free not to watch. I mean, this is something that we're all talking about this morning. Of course, there are major news stories happening across the world, but
every day.
This is something that we're talking about right now. So feel free not to join the conversation, Brenda, if you're going to be negative. This is a man that had a major impact on so many people. So that's why we're talking about it, and we'll continue to talk about it.
Yeah, but I think everyone else is just, sending out prayers and condolences to his family and all the other families who've been impacted. A total of 9 people were killed in that crash. Initial reports had said 5, but we learned yesterday after a press conference from the sheriff's office that it is, in fact, 9 people who lost their lives in this tragic incident.
Yeah, and I think it also begs to bring up the conversation about what you're seeing on social media. And that's, we had a verify segment earlier in the show, what's real, what's not, and what we're still working to confirm. Anytime something like this happens, there's going to be misinformation, and then there's going to be the people who do it deliberately and spread misinformation. And just because it has a couple thousand retweets, or even if there's a blue check mark, doesn't mean that the information is true. And so there's still so many unknowns. So before you share something on social media, it's important to make sure that it's true.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially when you hear a big story like this where there's, like we said, still so many questions up in the air. Of course, NTSB is still investigating the crash site. We just saw it. LAX lit up in Lakers colors. It's still lit up this morning. Tributes at Staples Center. It was a really tough situation, I think, last night, especially because they had the Grammys at the Staples Center. And of course, that is where Kobe played. There's a live look there right now at LAX. That is where Kobe played for the Lakers. And I can see where it must have been so tough to have all these people in this one one room thinking about Kobe, but having to put on this whole show with the Grammys. Of course, they did honor him and do everything they needed to do, but still, I cannot imagine being at Staples Center after hearing this tragic news.
And you and I, how you were talking about this, how something like this, and you think about the Grammys, and I'm sure that before this happened yesterday, some of those artists, this seemed like the most important thing in the world, and you think about how trivial, how small and stupid things like the Grammys seem in comparison to the magnitude of this loss, and I think that you could really sense that watching that in the Grammys. Neva says, I'm still in shock. He truly was a legend and showed us the passion for winning and the strive for perfection. Neva, yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have said it any better myself. His determination to win and his competitiveness and his fierce desire to win was maybe one of the most inspiring attributes of any sports star ever.
And you love to see that, you know, his daughter was carrying that. She was carrying her love and passion for basketball. They were, you know, they had been at a competition. They were headed back to the academy with other players who play basketball as well. And, you know, it's just, you can just see thousands of people there lined up at the Staples Center paying tribute to one of the greatest in the NBA. And so it's just, it really is shocking news. It is. And I think a lot of people are just waiting to see what caused this plane and this helicopter to go down in Calabasas.
Yeah, and I think that we can all use moments like this. There was a young girl on the helicopter, be respectful. Yeah, there was a couple of young girls on the helicopter, and that just adds to the tragedy of this. And I think that if anything positive comes of this, is that we can all use this as a teaching moment about our own immortality and about you know, making sure that you are telling the loved ones that you loved them. You know, I'm sure that Vanessa Bryant and the daughters are wishing that they had one more minute with Kobe, one more minute with Gianna. And I think that, and of course, the other family, we can't forget that two parents and a daughter killed in moments. I mean, I can't imagine that family, what they're going through. It's just a tough situation, and it really does make you step back.
It is, and you know, all of social media was lit up, still is this morning, just talking about what Kobe meant to them. Let's take a look at some of the posts that we've seen on social media. I know Shaq's post has gone really, really viral. Here it is. There's no words to express the pain I'm going through, this tragedy of losing my niece Gigi and my brother Kobe. I love you. You'll be missed. My condolences go out to the Bryant family and the families of the other passengers on board. I'm sick right now. Of course, they played together for such a long time on the Lakers. That's Shaq's post there with the tribute photo of the two of them.
And I want to show this one too, because this is Dwayne Wade, and this is right when we first start hearing these reports, and this is just so raw, the emotion here, and I think that's what a lot of people were going through, but hundreds of thousands of retweets now, and that was very early on, and I think this is what we were all thinking. No, please, no, not you know what I mean, not Kobe. He had so much more to do.
Yeah, you know, the thing is with the internet, we've seen so many hoax and bad situations of people making these tweets go viral of celebrities dying, and it was one of those moments where you needed to take a step back and make sure that that information was verified. It was one of those moments for me where I was like, is this real? Because we've seen this happen, you know, with Justin Bieber and other big names like this, where they, you know, they do hashtag RIP and it goes viral and trending. But man, it was one of those things where for sure you're thinking to yourself, no, this can't be real.
Well, and you're thinking to yourself, it was surreal, because you're thinking to yourself, this is Kobe Bryant. It's not Kobe Bryant's not going to die. You know what I mean? This is you see Kobe Bryant, good-looking guy, healthy, obviously very physically fit. No issues in the past with any kind of substance abuse or anything like that. This is you associate him with the epitome of health and longevity, and so your initial reaction, is no, it's not. Can't be Kobe.
Yeah, and you know, it really just brings us back to the reality of the world that, you know, we can go at any time. I mean, he rode a helicopter to most of his games in LA to beat the LA traffic. This was a form of transportation for Kobe Bryant and his family, and so for him to go that way is just, it really just wakes you up and makes you realize that life is very short. So
yeah, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of conversations to be had amongst loved ones and about the importance of telling them that you love them. But obviously a tragedy, and this is just the very beginning of I'm sure days of news coverage where we're going to figure out exactly what went wrong. That's the big question right now. The NTSB will be holding a press conference, we expect, a little bit later today as they arrive on the scene and kind of assess what went wrong. Yeah,
and of course, download the 6 News app to stay up to date on this developing story, tragic story out of Los Angeles in Southern California. The great Kobe Bryant has passed, and so we will continue to update this story as soon as more information becomes available.
That's right, and we're continuing this conversation throughout the next couple of days, and we want to thank you all for joining our conversation this morning. Certainly a very tough start to the week, a very tough time, not just in the world of sports, but in pop culture in general. So our thoughts are with the families of all that passed away there. Kobe Bryant, may he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace. We will see you guys tomorrow morning.